Hey, welcome back. It's day 10. Day 10. Day 10 actually feels pretty good. I've it's going on about 1:30 in the afternoon. Not had a I haven't had like an exceptional day or anything like that, like a mind-blowingly great day, but it's one of those days where it's just I feel like I've accomplished something. I really have nothing to demonstrate or show for it, but just that sense. And it's still pretty early in the day, which is a good thing. Just kind of just a reflection on a couple of things. Thinking about prior to starting this endeavor, prior to taking the time every day to stop and grab my thoughts and look at the goals that I'm concentrating on, and just thinking back to life prior to these 10 days. And I've used the term before of a zombie, and that's it's amazing where the time goes when I'm not paying attention to it, when I'm not actively trying to move towards something or move forward with something. Or it's just if I'm just in a cycle where it's money coming in one pocket, money going out of the other pocket. Get up, go to work, come home, go to bed, get up, go to work. It's just where does that time go? It was I was reflecting when I first started at this job that I'm at now. I was kind of excited about it, intimidated by it. It was an interesting little adventure. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. I had a lot of doubt that I would have what it takes to be successful in this specific job. And I don't remember specifically when, but I know it was pretty soon after I started working here. I noticed there's some trees out front, and in one of the trees was a black plastic bag. It looked like maybe the remains of a large garbage bag. It's bigger than a grocery store bag or something like that. I could tell, but it was little worn out and blowing in the tree. And I remember looking at that bag, and I wasn't real sure about my future with this company that I work for. My capacity or abilities to maintain or create some kind of success in the career move that I had made. And I remember looking at that bag in the tree and contemplating, wondering, who's going to be here longer, me or that bag? Kind of as just an interesting thought that had occurred. And I was looking out the window today, and bag's still there, bits and pieces, pretty well shredded up. But oddly enough, after four years and maybe 1 or 2 months, the thing's still kicking, still up there. Looks about as ragged and tattered as I feel with my career here. We really look like we're both on the edges of our demise at this place. And it's been an interesting competition. I don't think I'm beating the bag, and I don't think the bag is beating me. But we're both still hanging on, however loosely that is. But it's been an interesting metaphor. And I think 4 years, a little over 4 years, maybe 4 years and 2 months in this place. And I mean, it's good. I don't want to take away from that. But it's time I wasted. I can look back at 39 years if I want to, and see a great deal of time that I wasted, that I could have had some kind of project. And I think it's something that now tying everything together, and again, these videos have really helped. But tying everything into a process and a goal, I think that once this project's over, I'm gonna want to create another project pretty quickly. It just doesn't seem fair to waste the time in Zombieville anymore. It's as I said, I've already it's 1:30. I feel 1,000 times more productive than I would have on a day in my past way of living. And I feel like I've accomplished things. I spent a lot of time today. My small goal towards the business was trying to learn about business plans and writing a business plan. And it's a little bit overwhelming. And some of the business plans were relatively simple that I looked at. I still got a little bit more work to do on that today. And but some of them were pretty intense. And calculating different your spreadsheets as far as money coming in, money going out, profit loss, and predicted. I don't even know what are you just guessing at that, just winging at that? I'm sure there's some scientific some way of figuring out the best way you can. Ultimately, it's estimates, but just interesting to look at different business plans. That kind of rolled into looking at the idea I have or the small business that I'm going to be working on is already something that's out there. There's different variations of it, and kind of just reading some what to expect stories, and I came across one that was almost silly to me in some regard. A gentleman had opened up this business, and had kind of a romantic idea about how it was going to be, and then how it turned into this nightmare of an entity, and how it nearly drove him and his wife to divorce and then bankruptcy. And I stopped and I thought to myself, wow, it was just kind of a waste of energy. Why would this guy take the time to write this and put it out in the internet? It just the attitude was almost a failure from the start. It sounded like there wasn't a whole lot of research, wasn't a whole lot of planning. It was just kind of hoping in an idealistic dream, and then when it failed, it's like kind of almost like a warning to anybody else that would consider it. And it's just peculiar, just really peculiar. But I came across some pretty hard figures, some pretty hard numbers, some things that I think would discourage any a large percent of people, and I didn't feel discouraged by it at all. If anything, it was a challenge and an awareness of what to keep my eyes open for, of what to concentrate on answers that I would like to have before I start doling out money towards something. That was another thing that kind of came up today. I had an image in my head of the kind of a romanticized image in my head of the business, how I wanted it to look, different avenues of it, and then I stopped and I thought, what makes the most sense? And all of a sudden the whole image just changed, and it was kind of an image I was in the back of my mind I knew made more sense, but I didn't necessarily like the image of it so much. Then I stopped and now that I kind of latched onto this entity that makes more sense, this aspect of the business that makes more sense, I really like the image that came with it. And all of a sudden it became so much more tangible, so much more real. Now before it was kind of a romanticized vision of the project, and now it's a much more clear, stable, and it even took me into thinking farther into the future on how employees will need to be paid, and how the money needs to motivate in a sales and commission type thing, how that versus an hourly type rate, and putting someone actually in charge and letting them control the elements as it branches off. So it opened up a whole new perspective on the business itself, not only just changing the image and becoming more realistic with the image. It just made it so much more tangible and so much more interesting. But anyway, back to day 10. Woke up this morning and just found something really good to listen to. And I've been spending a lot of time just listening to things, and I've done it in the past, and it's always so valuable. It just, for me, it puts me in a perspective where, I'm actively seeking that energy. I'm actively seeking that feeling, that knowledge, that confidence, that structure, all those things that come with listening to, motivational speaking, or, self-help, or success, and, concentrating on success, planning for success. For me, there's definitely something to it, even if I've never really driven it all the way home to fruition. It just changes the activities that are going on in my brain and around me, how I interact and how I take in certain things. I do remember, I can say that one time I did actually have a active a valid result from thought and from action. in terms of writing down goals, planning and preparing. It was funny. It was about 2 years ago in this business when I initially started working here. It was just kind of, can I make it? And then once I found I couldn't, could earn money doing it, I kind of just became complacent. I didn't really have much drive. And then after about 2 years, I was like, what am I doing? And I kind of got fired up. I was like, I'm going to make some money, doing it. There's money to be made here. And, I wrote down these goals. I think I had 100 goals at one point. I just wanted to make a list of 100 things. And then I put it away, and, I did actively work towards the one goal of increasing, my income and becoming more successful, and saw immediate results. But however, I didn't really go back and look at those goals, and then I found them. A few might be getting too hot on the dashboard, so we'll move it a little bit. But anyway, I did a little bit. I found those goals about a year or so later, and I looked through and I was amazed at how many of them I had actually completed. Without even really trying, but just kind of sparking that. Not that I didn't really try. I don't want to say that, but I didn't really concentrate on the goals. Sorry, is that better? But just but it was interesting to go back and see. Wow, I completed all these goals, and some of them, at the time when I wrote them, just seemed illogical, outrageous, to just huge, like, oh, I'll never complete that goal. And I look at it now, I was like, now I'm doing it on a monthly basis, with relative ease. It's just kind of a peculiar thing. It's one of those things, I guess, again, of, ask and demand and want, and truly, from your inner soul or inner heart, just really desire something, and it comes to fruition, however unrealistic it is. It's just, it's a 2 years later or a year later, whatever the case was, I was in a completely different perspective, and looked back on those goals, and it was like, it seems silly that I would not think that something can be completed. So, we hear that a lot, that a big part of our life is our, the mentality. What we tell ourselves or what we believe. And for me, I mean, I've seen evidence of it so many times. My thing now is I need to concentrate on it. I really need to live it, love it. Just live by it. Keep it in the forefront at all times. And just actively generate that energy. Actively move towards something. Just escape the doldrum of that complacency that the modern society that's around me kind of contributes to. It's my big motivator now is I became so complacent. I've pretty much lost myself. I've pretty much lost any I mentioned it before, any real freedom, any real, I have no control over myself. I am my job. I live here. Just what I've evolved into, and wow, now I'm ready to get out. But the cool thing that's kind of generated is, I'm not intimidated by working 12, 13, 14 hours a day. I've been doing it for a while now. I 5, 6, sometimes, well, not really 7 days a week, but 5 or 6 days a week. I mean, I have no problem with putting my nose to the grindstone. Now, had you caught me in my 20s and someone said, hey, you're going to be working 12, 13 hours a day, I'd look at you like, you're crazy. I really enjoyed my 20s. I had a lot of freedom, and probably lived very incorrectly. However, I don't regret that. I think it was a good time in my life to be a little bit reckless, to be, a little bit wild out there and free. And, I had a lot of downtime, and, I think about it now. Sometimes I would go into work for, 6 hours and, not even really be there at work, and then, come home, and the rest of the day was mine. And, man, what did I do with that time? But anyway, it's a different mode, different attitude. And I've heard people say, people never change. You can't change people. That's I don't find that true at all. I've changed so many times over the course of my life. Right now it's just concentrating on good change, and hopefully doing something well. So sticking to it. Day 10, moving forward, slowly but surely. you know, steady as we go. Oh, that's another thing that's interesting. I want to comment on. Can you believe nobody's watching my videos? Oh man, I'm a little deflated. Actually, I was curious. I didn't know what would happen. I didn't know if if I would get X amount of views or what would happen. But I'm finding it's kind of funny that I think I've got what 10. This will be the 10th video, and I've probably got a total of 20 views. I've got a couple videos out there that have 0 views. It's just it's just one of those things. But nobody's watching my videos, man. But anyway, if you do come across it, and you do, whoever you are, if you sit down and you watch some of them and you get something out of it, great, good. And again, you can always reach me at heywhatareyouddoingtoday@gmail.com. Hey, what are you doing today at gmail.com. But I'm just gonna leave it at that. Just a little bit of reflection today, a little bit of you know, thinking about where I've been, where I'm going, what I need to do, what's working, and those kind of things. So we'll wrap it up with that, and that's it. So hey, what are you doing today? Thanks.